I'm Kevin Coleman in Chillicothe Council Chambers, and I believe the Development Committee just heard your presentation on the new zoning code. Can you introduce yourself and explain or summarize what you told the Council Committee?
Yeah, sure. So my name is David Baird, and I work for American Structurepoint, which was the consultant selected for this process. I am the project manager on this. We've been working on this for about 16 months in conjunction with the city. And so tonight we have a full draft of the new zoning ordinance. We're actually calling it a Unified Development Code because it also does more than just the zoning code. It integrates the subdivision regulations and the sign code. But usually the one that people really want to hear about and talk about is the zoning code. So we talked about with the council tonight, the development committee of the council, the areas of the code that are changing, things that have been modified from the old code. We talked about problems that the city is currently having with the older code, and some of the solutions that we've got in the draft code to improve these circumstances. So yeah. Okay,
I believe this draft is going to go onto the city's website in a few days.
I would refer that to Ms. Hall. The question was, will the draft go on the city's website in the coming days?
Yes, we'll have updated copies of the draft as well as your presentation from this evening up on our Engage resident platform.
All right, so go to Chillicothe. What's the address?
Oh gosh.
I'll look it up then. But go to the
Chillicothe OH/Engage. But if you go to the Chillicothe website, we'll have it. You'll be able to direct right to it.
All right, great. So then this committee meeting is the first part in the process to get it passed by council.
That's correct. Yeah. So in the process, in the presentation, I went through kind of the phases of this project. We're really at what we call the first part of that adoption phase. Tonight, not only did we meet with the development committee, we also had a public open house where individuals from the public could come and discuss with us one-on-one any provision of the code that they wanted to talk about. But tonight was so 2 meetings tonight, giving a general overview, and then we delved kind of deeper in areas that people wanted to hear more about.
You mentioned that codes like this need to be customized for the community.
That's correct. Yeah. So the biggest difference we see with a zoning code from like a building code or any other part of the city's municipal code, which when we say city's municipal code, we basically mean the set of laws for the city. Ones that really can't be replicated from one city to the next are your zoning code. And so what we find is that there are certain little nuances that are in different cities that we have to really customize. The one that that's really important here that we talked a lot about tonight is what we call nonconformities, but really most people refer to that as grandfathering. So a nonconformity is something that, if you look in the code today, it's not permitted, but it was permitted at an earlier point in time.
It was there before the code.
It was before the code started. Yeah, that's correct. So there's a lot of these in the city of Chillicothe, and a lot that people want to have, and they blend with the neighborhood. So without going into the details of the presentation, which you can hear, which it was streamed, is it also available online afterwards? The presentation?
Yes.
So you could go back and hear some of the more details if you wanted to, but essentially we went over those non-conforming provisions. Those are the ones that really needed to be tailored to the city of Chillicothe because you have so much of that here, whereas a lot of cities we work with, you don't have that.
Okay. I think another special thing that you did for Chillicothe was on the arterial streets that you allow like churches turned into businesses.
Yeah. So in the what we call the residential office district, that new district is going to be pretty in a lot of different locations in the city. But if you are located on a major collector street or above, then it gives you some abilities to do some limited commercial uses. These are really things that are like civic uses. They're like a medical office or a library, a museum. Today the code doesn't allow that, and what we found when we talked with our stakeholders and people in the community is that there have been situations where people wanted to do that, and the community supported it, but the code actually did not permit that. And so that was a big part of this project. We really heard at the beginning of the process, residents of that area wanted to see that area redeveloped. And so that's one way moving forward we really think we can help with redevelopment.
I saw where, for example, on Douglas Street, the lots right on Douglas are a part of this, but if you go within the presidential streets, that's not permitted.
That's right. Once you get into the true neighborhood, then these things are not permitted. We had a lot of questions about that tonight, and for good reason. You don't want to have something like colloquially, the term I like to use is corner grocery store. It's corner grocery store for a reason, because it's on the corner street and it's on a major street. You wouldn't want that in the middle of the neighborhood. But whereas historically in the city of Chillicothe, there was a lot of things that developed that way, but the code doesn't allow for it today. So we're basically kind of rewinding that and creating a mechanism for it to be permitted through today's code.
The zoning map, has that really been, you redefined some of the, or renamed some of the districts, but has any of the districting actually changed?
Well, some of the districts have been consolidated. So there were some of the districts that are very, very similar. And when we analyzed it, there were only 2 or 3 things that were different about them. And they really have the same intention, so we consolidated those districts together. The naming may be different, but nothing was changed on the map from an individual parcel to another individual parcel, but we did consolidate districts and which puts them together. One of the other benefits for that is it creates less rezonings, less processes, and so the number of districts will be reduced. So there are certain districts. There's right now there are 3 commercial districts. They're very, very similar. We put that all together in a general commercial district.
All right, and last question. I think everyone wants to get home for supper. We had a marijuana dispensary ordinance passed that put a moratorium on one of the 2 kinds of marijuana dispensaries. I'm forgetting the details. Contingent on the new zoning code being passed.
Yeah, so the way that is written into the new code is that it references out of the existing code to the moratorium. So today, the code will not change the moratorium, but when the moratorium is lifted, it will be reintegrated into the code. So I don't know when the moratorium is up. Do you guys know the timeline on that?
It's 1 year.
It's 1 year from when it was adopted. So the plan is for the council to revisit that when it comes close to that 1 year and integrate it back into the zoning code. So this adoption won't change that, will not change the moratorium. The moratorium will last for a full year, but I would expect that council will be having follow-up meetings to figure out how to integrate that into the process.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.